everyone, this is Faiza Khan and I'm going to discuss about the book A Thousand Miles to Freedom, a memoir by Yunsun Kim. So the story revolves around a heroic escape of a mother with her two daughters to South Korea from the totalitarian regime of Kim Jong-un, the then dictator of North Korea. So Yunsun was 11 years old when a deadly famine struck North Korea. Many people died because of it, including her father and her grandfather. Things started to become worse and necessities became luxuries for them. So they decided to escape. Meanwhile, they really had a hard time as they were homeless, and shortly after entering China, they fell into the hands of Chinese human traffickers who sold them to Chinese peasants who ill-treated them. They also survived a North Korean labor camp, and not only this, at the end they also had to risk their lives to human traffickers to enter South Korea. So you see, freedom, as rightly said by the author, was thousands of miles away, but they made it possible with their patience and dedication. Clearly, the story highlights some of the backlogs of a communist government, as they were totally indifferent towards the suffering of their people. This has raised many questions about the communist ideology in general, and it has also become important to know which is better on a long run in between communism and capitalism. So let's discuss these things in the next slides.
A Thousand Miles to Freedom is an inspiring life story of Unsun Kim, where she shares the details of her childhood in North Korea and her long journey that ultimately led her to freedom from one of the cruelest regimes in the modern history. In the story, it is portrayed that the major cause of sufferings of the people in North Korea was the inhumane and totalitarian regime which had the ability to mercilessly crush any dissent. The story is set against the background of a countrywide famine where, just like several North Koreans, Unsun's father and grandfather were also starved to death. It is sadly ironic that the regime allowed her family members to die of hunger in spite of the fact that her grandfather was a highly ranked officer in the army and had shown blind loyalty to the state system. The author also highlights the fact that the North Koreans were completely brainwashed and forced to believe everything that was shown to them on TV. Even the adults had no outside information with which to compare what they were learning at home. Unsun herself admits the fact that it took her a long time to see the truth about her home country and that Kim Jong-il was a ruthless dictator who had no compassion to the sufferings of the people. Because of the horrific conditions of starvation, she and her family were prompted to flee across the Tumen River bordering China in the winter of 1998. The story brings to the surface the fact that North Koreans have been facing extreme challenges for decades because of the oppressive regime. However, Unsun is able to survive against all odds, and her journey brings a hope for a better future to millions of North Koreans who are suffering in silence even today, since they are entirely dependent on the government for everything.
The story proceeds. As their first attempt to flee to China failed, they decided to head to a town named Rajin Songbong. The author's life as a homeless child had begun. They had to collect wood with bare hands, seaweed, and discarded fish. Not being able to make both ends meet, they decided to resort to stealing. Since the beginning of 1990s, many children in North Korea had lost their parents to hunger. They had to survive alone on the streets. One may think, why no help arrived from the international community? Actually, North Korea follows Juche, a socialist ideology that advocates self-reliance and economic self-sustenance. To uphold Juche, the North Korean government rejected all international assistance, believing it to be a capitalist plot to turn the people against the ideology of Juche. The author's mother soon realized that they had no future in North Korea, so they decided to flee to China by the frozen Tumen. When they came to China, a shocking fact came to light. The Chinese government, instead of helping poor and vulnerable North Koreans, had signed an agreement with the North Korean government to send all the North Korean defectors back to Pyongyang. They realized that they had no rights in China. They did not even have the right to life. Their illegal status in China made them extremely vulnerable to oppression and abuse. The author's mother fell victim to human trafficking and was sold to an illiterate Chinese peasant who wanted to have a son to inherit his parents' property, showcasing how materialism overpowers humanity, how human beings can be sold just like commodities. The author also throws light on the extent they went to, the things they had to endure to ensure their survival. The author's family was treated like slaves in the peasant's household. The Chinese peasant and his mother often made derogatory comments about them and imposed weird and absurd punishments. Even when her mother gave birth to a boy, their situation remained pathetic. But with no money and no recourse to the authorities, they had no choice but to endure. Eventually, the author's family were captured by the police and deported back to North Korea, where they were sent to a re-education camp. They had to undergo forced labor and brainwashing sessions. While in the re-education camp, the author remembered how, when she was a child, people in North Korea were executed for insulting the great leaders, for stealing rice during famine, and for watching foreign media. The North Korean government deprived its people of basic liberty and natural rights.
Now, as the story proceeds, it's quite obvious to see that liberty, which should be granted to anyone and to everyone, has turned into a luxury in author's life. Pendulum was Inson's journey from communism to capitalism, and she found it quite difficult to transform herself from communist to capitalist way of government, which could be seen as she claims that it seems quite impossible for her to catch up in her studies when she went to South Korea. This story takes down all those people which think that government has no significant impact on an individual life. In today's modern world, with people turning more and more for rights, the government should also think that what they are demanding should not be demanded at all. Instead, it should be an oxygen for their social and political life. We in India are very fortunate to have a constitution that has all our rights stated in it. It is quite obvious for anyone to say that the true value of anything is realized when it's not with us. Same is the case in author's life, as she had been deprived of a political life and a social life which she had been entitled to as a citizen. Thank you.
Communism and capitalism are two ideologies supposed to benefit human lives, but their extreme implementation can lead to devastating fallouts like hunger and poverty and etc. Communist North Korea, ruled by brutal Kim dynasty, left no stone unturned to harass its subjects and compel them to live in poverty. Communist ideology, as we look its definition, is to implement a kind of utopian society in which there is an absence of social class, money, and rank. Huge contrast between North and South Korea shows face value of communism and capitalism at present. Which is better between communist and capitalist ideology is a never-ending debate, but it's us, the common people, who are the real sufferer and treated like a test subject. The concept of liberty, that is, notion of choice, absence of constraint, and etc., are hindered to subjugate the weaker section by powerful ones to gain hold of the power and rule forever. Why can't we chart a middle path which includes both these ideologies? The answer, as universal, is simple: human greed. Dictatorship in North Korea might not end soon well, but its people will indeed find a way to escape this colossal prison in pursuit of liberty. The protagonist at last flee to capitalist supporter South Korea. But why? It's not that communism is bad, but its implementation had shown adverse result. Instead of moving on, clinging to century-old ideology is proving fatal for its people. Karl Marx said that in final phase of communism, society would move from each according to its ability to each according to his need. But we see no such thing in North Korea. Capitalist South Korea has opportunities, freedom, and a better society. At last, in the story, the protagonist rightly said, I recounted my story, how I had left my homeland due to hunger. I explained that I now had a different kind of hunger, the hunger to see the rest of the world.